I'm going to be perfectly honest with you guys. Over the past few months, I have played little to none of Battlefield 4. I've played the odd match every now and again just to try and get into it, but it's really not clicked for me in the past few months. Now, of course, quite a lot of that is to do because I've had exams and I've not had as much time, or I've been playing other games just to try and get away from all of the stress of revising and stuff like that. But I just haven't, Battlefield just hasn't clicked for me in the past few months. I think another reason as to why I haven't been playing it is because the spring patch came out and it changed so many things about Battlefield 4 that I just didn't have the time to relearn everything. Like all the new damage models, all the attachments now do completely different things, and all of the attachments that I'd put on all my weapons now make them worse. So I think because of that, whenever I've tried to get back into playing Battlefield 4, it's just felt so alien to me that I've just gone and played something else. Now, what I have been playing a hell of a lot of is Counter-Strike Global Offensive, and this is a first-person shooter on the PC. It's also on console, but it's nowhere near as large on console as what it is on the PC. It's become increasingly popular over the past few months, especially with the people on YouTube. You could definitely tell that it's become more popular, because I remember when I started playing it last year around summer, it had about 6 million players online, and now it has about 8 million, so it's definitely grown massively in the past few months. And today I want to take a look at the differences and similarities between Counter-Strike Global Offensive and Battlefield, and I'm going to explain why I like Counter-Strike a lot and why I think that Battlefield could learn quite a lot from Counter-Strike. So first up, Counter-Strike versus Battlefield. Counter-Strike is a hell of a lot more balanced than Battlefield. Now, part of the reason for this is because everything in CSGO is on a much smaller scale. Everything from the maps to the weapons, there is almost less, but more in a way. There's around the same amount of maps, there are quite a lot of maps, and there's way fewer game modes, and the maps are much smaller, and there's only a few weapons. But because of this, it makes it easier for the developers, Valve, to make the game a lot more balanced in terms of damage models and map balancing. If you think about it, the Battlefield 4 maps are really what's holding the game back. In Counter-Strike Global Offensive, the developers have thought about every single line of sight from every single position on that map. Whereas on Battlefield 4, because the maps are so expansive, the developers really don't have time to do that. So that means that the Battlefield 4 maps are a hell of a lot less balanced than what the Counter-Strike ones. And the same goes for the weapons. If you look at the amount of weapons that are in Battlefield 4, it is ridiculous. You've got, what, 10 carbines, maybe even more, about 10 assault rifles, maybe even more, shotguns, sniper rifles, many pistols, and that just makes it a nightmare for a developer to balance all of that. Another difference between the two is that Counter-Strike is just infantry. That's all you have to worry about. Grenades and guns. That's all you have to worry about. Whereas Battlefield, you've got gadgets, you've got vehicles, you've got flying vehicles, you've got AA. You've got just so many things that you have to worry about. Whereas in CSGO, you don't. You've just got the other 5 players on the opposite team, or everybody else if you're playing deathmatch, and that's it. So in a way, that kind of makes it more accessible for noobs like me who aren't that brilliant at first-person shooters, and can't really multitask and can only really focus on one thing. And for me, that's the infantry. Battlefield has some great moments when you're playing infantry TDM, but if you really want to rank up and have the most amount of fun, you've got to play Conquest. And it's quite difficult to find a server that doesn't have fast respawn on vehicles. Trust me. Fast respawn on vehicles is the bane of Battlefield at the minute. And on top of that, you have the community. Counter-Strike has a massive community, way bigger than what Battlefield's is. I think I mentioned this in one of my previous videos when I was talking about the player count in Battlefield Hardline. Battlefield 4 has a player count of about 30,000 worldwide, whereas Counter-Strike Global Offensive has a much, much higher one. I think it's actually in the millions. Not all at the same time, albeit, but a peak of about a few million. So this means that you are always able to find a game mode and a map that coincide with what you want to play, because there's always so many people playing the game. Whereas Battlefield, you're basically just limited to what everybody's playing, and that's normally a Conquest large server with fast vehicle respawn, and a TDM server with stupid rules where you can't use a shotgun, you can't use explosives or whatever. And that's another thing I should mention, is that Counter-Strike, all the servers are mainly run by Valve. You do get your own you can buy your own private server, and there are a few out there, but most of the servers are run by Valve, so they control the settings on this server, whereas Battlefield, the admins buy their own server, and then they can adjust all of the settings. So again, you can have fast vehicle respawn, you can have increased health, reduced health, they can turn off your minimap for you, turn off 3D spotting, and there's so many variables that you don't have control over that can really just detract from the experience. Now, I'm not hating on Battlefield here, because I do still love the game, and I'm going to get onto some of the things that I really want to try and do with Battlefield. I'm going to get onto that in a minute, but this is kind of what I've noticed when I've been playing Counter-Strike Global Offensive and Battlefield in the past few weeks and months. Now, as I mentioned, I haven't been playing Battlefield as much recently, and I kind of feel bad for that, because my channel is, of course, a Battlefield channel at heart, and I've kind of been missing out on that content recently. I can't really make a Battlefield video if I haven't been playing Battlefield. One, for the gameplay, but two, I don't know what I'm talking about. Things could change it by that point. Like, the last time I properly played Battlefield was back in winter, when the winter patch was out. So, to try and help me get back into playing Battlefield, and I am going to be dedicating quite a lot more of my time to getting back into Battlefield and learning the mechanics again, I'm going to leave my battle log and origin details in the description below, and if you want to come and play some Battlefield with me, just add me on Origin and we can play some Battlefield together. And I'm going to try and get a TeamSpeak server or a Skype call or something like that set up so that we have some sort of communication between us. So if you're interested in that, let me know down in the comments below, add me on Origin, and we can, I'll message you, whatever. We can just play Battlefield, video games, it's cool. But that's all I've got for today. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed, don't forget to absolutely slam that like button if you did, and I'll catch you in the next one.